Hello, class, and welcome back to another episode of Siege 101, a series where Nol Zero and I break down Siege and teach you how to become a better Siege operator. This week on Siege 101, we are going to talk about team composition. So I have Nol Zero here with me. What up, Zero?
What up, Hambo?
Chilling, man. Just doing what we do every week, making another video. So as I said, we're going to talk about team composition and what it means and how we use it. So when we talk about team composition, we're talking about what players do you actually choose? What characters in game do you select to build your team? Most teams that play seriously in ranked or even professionally all have a set team build that they use. And for us, we have the same. For us, we usually take Sledge, Thatcher, Ash, and Thermite, and then our fifth is a variable, depending on what the map is or what that person is feeling. But generally, we have those four things. And why is that, Zero?
Well, I mean, for us, sometimes we play Glaz based off of sight lines, what he can do on a map, where he can position outside of the actual entry. We run Twitch a lot now because we think it's a really good backup to Thatcher going down, or sometimes her bot is just better at handling certain situations. She can harass with that bot quite well. She can deal with the bandit shuffle, I think, a little bit better than just a Thatcher grenade. So I mean, it really depends. Fuse is a great option for softening a room. But yeah, we use a variable there because, it's just, there's those main four that you said are the musts. I don't feel like you should ever run a team without those four. And I just don't feel like there's really, on offense at least, that there's really any question as to why. I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory what Ash, what Thermite, what Thatcher, and what Sledge will do for a team. Gives you a lot of breach, it gives you a lot of mobility, it gives you just all the way around solid team comp, and then the variable can just enhance those features.
Right, absolutely. A lot of times we'll play 2-2-1 where we'll have two teams of two and Glaz by himself, or we'll play 3-2 with a Twitch in place on the second team and run 3 on the first team. It just depends on how we're feeling. But when we're talking about defense, it's a whole nother ballgame. It seems to me that they have a much better balance and choice selection on defense than you see on the offensive side. Like you said, the four that we named are pretty much necessary. All the time, you really should have all four of those things. But on defense, it's a lot different. What do you typically like to run as your team comp on defense?
Well, on defense, typically if I'm roaming, I'm roaming with Smoke or Pulse, and then that's about as far as it goes. I mean, because I think Castle overall is a good choice. He's a solid pick all the way around. I know some people would contest that. Rook, I know, is heavily used in competitive play. I typically don't really care about Rook. I could go either way. I don't care if you use him. I don't care if you don't. I don't feel like his shield gives me all that extra damage. Frost has become a mainstay in most team comps. She's really strong. Her traps are really good. But the reason there's so many variables is I feel like on offense, those four that we mentioned are very powerful, and the other counterparts to them aren't as powerful as they are. On defense, I feel like everybody's kind of mediocre. People scream that Pulse is overpowered. I never felt Pulse was overpowered. I still don't think he's overpowered. I feel like everybody's mediocre. Some people kind of shine. A lot of people think Frost is really strong with their Super 90, and I'd agree. And people think Pulse is really strong, but overall, I don't feel like there's four really strong defenders, and then everybody else is kind of somewhere in between decent to bad.
Right. I mean, I think what's interesting on defense is that I usually pick based on the guns on defense. all of the defensive perks or special abilities are all just enhancements to your play. Because on defense, it's coming down to your gun skill and how well you can take down the opposing team. And then there are some things that are pretty useful, obviously reinforced wall, barbed wire, and C4, and so on and so forth that can all dictate your team composition. And usually we do try to have a good mix and match of barbed wire to nitro cell ratio. But it's really a personal choice on what you like. I mean, No Zero will tell you we fight over smoke all the time because of the SMG.
Right.
That is just so deadly. We all like Bandit. We'll all play Jaeger. I mean, it just depends on what we're feeling and where we're put. A lot of maps dictate what you're doing. If you're playing Hereford base, you should prepare for some type of basement assault a couple times,
Right.
even if you're in ranked, if they fail to defend it, of course.
And see, what's crazy about defense is just look at Bandit. Like, one map, he's super strong. Another map, not so much.
Yeah.
It's really crazy.
It just depends on how you want to play him. Sometimes I play Bandit just for the simple fact that he's quick and has a C4.
Right.
Other times you're playing Bandit to do the shuffle. Other times you play Bandit and you don't even take the C4. You take them for the barbed wire. So, I mean, there's so many variables on defense, and it gives you a lot more creativity to kind of pick and choose how you build your team. But one thing's for certain, you definitely need to work on a steady team composition. We try to have the same players play most of these positions frequently so that they're familiar with all the intricacies that they all bring to the table. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this episode of Siege 101. Let us know how you build your team. Are you similar to us or are you completely different? I'm Hampbone, he's No Zero, and we'll see you when we see you.